Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio. Over the years, in various relationships, I have had women try to get me to give up various things. And you know what? At one time in my life, I was a pussy, and I allowed these things to happen. Example, I'll give the perfect example. One of my 4 ex-wives didn't just dislike baseball. She disliked the sound of baseball. Like playing on the radio or on TV. She didn't even like hearing the sound of it. And I remember as I was heading with my foot on the gas towards another disastrous relationship, I remember her coming into a room one time and asking me if I would turn the game off because it was giving her a headache. And that was my biggest mistake, was saying yes to that, and I did. Ultimately, every time I turned on a game, she told me it gave her a headache. Radio, TV, in the car, taking a long drive. She could be sleeping in the passenger seat next to me, and I would have Vin Scully playing very low on the radio. Dodger game. I can't sleep with that on. Could you please turn that off? And I ultimately knew that I was a complete pussy at that time. We were living in a house with our bedroom all the way in the back of the house. All in the back. And she was sitting in the living room watching a movie or something, and that was in the front of the house, and my bedroom, or our bedroom, was in the back of the house. And I remember I told her I wasn't that interested in the movie, and I walked to the back of the house, closed the bedroom door, and very quietly turned on ESPN to watch the ESPN baseball game. And pretty soon that was followed by pounding on the door. Are you watching baseball in there? Are you watching a game? Yeah. And knocking and complaining about the game. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end. I knew that this couldn't last. And pretty soon it was over. But not before I had pushed out and allowed this to happen. I have had chicks who have tried to get me to give up all kinds of things. But now there are certain things in my life. Now, your life and my life, you know, we have things in common, and I'm sure there are things about us that are different. But there are certain things that women have tried to take away from me, and now I just say no. I don't need them every day. I don't enjoy them every day, but I enjoy them. And they're part of who I am. And many of you boys I know are complete pusses, and you don't know how to say no. So I'm going to tell you about myself, and then you can tell me about you, okay? Here are the things women try to get me to give up that are just part of who I am, okay? Hockey. I don't play it. I'm not going to get hurt. I just like to watch. I've got the satellite dish. I've got every game telecast in North America available to me. Now, I don't watch them all. I don't watch most of them. But you know what? On Saturday when I'm sitting home and it's the fall or the winter, Saturday the first game comes in from the East Coast at about 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Usually it's from someplace like Long Island or Boston or Philadelphia, and I will watch that game. And then, because hockey games are pretty much around 3 hours in length, and because the time zone difference is 3 hours, essentially every 3 hours is another game. So at 10, there's a game on Long Island, or in Boston at 1. There'll be a game, which will be 4 on the East Coast. The 1 o'clock game will probably be a West Coast game, day game, like San Jose, Anaheim, Phoenix, sometimes L.A., but I'm usually at the game in L.A. 4 o'clock, there'll be a game. It'll be 7 o'clock East Coast time. That'll be a starting time there. So, sure enough, when the 1 o'clock game is over, at 4 o'clock, it might be a game from Toronto or Montreal or New York. And then at 7, all the nighttime West Coast games come on. And those games could also be from San Jose or Phoenix. And I might have the games on all day, and I might not even be watching them. They're just on in the background. They're kind of there. I would say the vast majority of women I've known over the last 3-4 years have complained about this. And I've told every one of them the same thing. You either learn to live with this, or we can't be together. That's it. You can't get me to give that up. This is something I'm never giving up. Never. Okay, here's another one. Hanging out with my boys, please. I've been with at least one person who didn't like the boys and wanted me to give them up. Told me that she didn't like them. And they were a bad influence, or they were bad, or she just didn't like them. There were various reasons. The boys are still here. She's gone. Jazz. Now, jazz is an acquired taste. Jazz is not the most popular form of music in the United States. Very popular in Japan and Europe. But in the United States, it's a small, select crowd that likes jazz, and I'm in that crowd. Now, I don't listen to it all day long or even every day. But you know what? On Sunday morning when I'm having some brew and reading the paper, I like jazz. As much as I like Linkin Park, I don't like Linkin Park at 8 o'clock Sunday morning. Okay? 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time I get up. So I'm listening to jazz. And there are women who actually complain. I was with one woman who said to me, that stuff gives me a headache. Jazz. I've never heard of anybody saying jazz gives you a headache. I've heard of people saying it's bland, it's boring, it sounds like the dentist's office or something. I've never heard anybody say the stuff gives me a headache. You know what? I said, this is part of who I am. You take it or leave it. I'm not going to stop listening. Not going to do it. And, of course, and I think all my boys out there have been through this, and my boys here, my boys listening, have been through this one. Any level of boozing. That is always an easy target for women. They just get really pissed off about the fact that you're boozing. Now, the fact is, chicks love boozing when they first meet you. I can't tell you how many women I've polluted their minds and destroyed them, essentially. They say, I don't really drink much. And then I get them to the Absolute, and I get them to the Jägermeister, and I get them to the tequila and everything. I get them all, they go through the whole list. And they start off, oh, no, I don't drink much. And eventually, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, they're crazy, right? But then if the relationship goes on, eventually women start, for some reason, they don't like having any fun anymore. Like, fun is something you do when you're not having a serious relationship. And once the relationship becomes very serious, suddenly you're not supposed to be boozing anymore. Well, suddenly they stop boozing, and then they sit there sober while you're boozing. And they say things like I've done on the air. I've done this bit on the air. It's the same thing. You're nothing but a drunk. You're a lush. You're boozing all the time. Boozing, drinking. Now, by the way, I'm not always boozing. I have a wine cellar. That's not exactly boozing. You know how much wine you have to drink to get soused? A lot. If you're drinking the good stuff. And if you're drinking the good stuff, you don't just glug it down, like you're drinking another Powerade. I mean, you drink it slow. You sip it. You drink it slowly. Maybe not you, Dean, but most of us. You drink it slowly. Are you going to be drinking again? Are you going to be drinking? First you start drinking, and then you start acting like an a-hole, and then you hang out with your friends, and you act like you've had that conversation, right? And some guys say, all right, I'll stop, and then they go undercover drinking. I'm not drunk. I was at work. I'm just at work a little late, that's all. But they'll never admit to being drunk anymore because the chick will threaten to leave or start nagging or screaming or something. So you either go underground with it or I don't know. What do? You go underground with it or I guess you stop. I guess that's the other thing you do. Some of you boys, a lot of you boys knuckle under. You know what I'm saying? If you're with a chick who you think is hot or you think you're really lucky, that's the bottom line. Many of you boys, and as I say, I've confessed, I copped. We've all been there. We've all been with somebody and said, okay, and given stuff up. We've all done that. And you could very well be with somebody right now who's pushing you to give up the stuff you love. I don't care what it is. It could be anything. Maybe you like riding in a rodeo on the weekend. Maybe you like playing the rugby on the weekend. Maybe you like jumping from a bungee cord. I don't know what it is. But you know what? It's always the same deal. When they met you, this was all cool. You were cool. It was all cool. Everything was wonderful. And then once they become serious, very serious about you, suddenly all the things they loved about you, you're now supposed to stop doing. Okay? I want to find out from you what things she is making you stop doing and whether or not you're going to listen to her.
Tom Leykis, 1-800-5800-866.
You're the first guy to touch my nads. You reattached them.
Oh, good. I thought I'd gotten a little too drunk one night.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Leykis on Hot Talk 1080 KO.
Doing it.
Yep. Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's a telephone number. J. Dean, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it hanging?
Hanging right, J. Dean.
Good. Little message for all the gals out there. I'm 32, married an Englishman. He's 51 now. Started drinking with him, all his English, Irish, South African, New Zealand buddies. Kind of was a pain in the butt at first and thought, I really like this guy and maybe I could just get him that way.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. You've got to let them go and do what they got to do. I was there, the drinking buddy with them, and great with all the guys and everything. And then finally I just had to buck up and just say, I can't keep up. But I didn't have the right to make him stop doing what he was going to do. I agree totally with what you're saying. I feel sorry for the guys out there that have to give up what they want to give up, because in the end, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, of course, women, as I always say, women love, TV shows like This Old House or Trading Spaces.
Antiques Roadshow.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. No, they like shows where you make somebody over. That's what they like.
Oh, is that you put? Yeah.
And so what they do is they will take a guy who uses drugs or who's a heavy boozer or who likes to watch sports on TV all day long, who likes to drop his socks on the floor or whatever.
Yep.
And they will take him, figuring that later on they can nag or harass him or cajole him into stopping doing what he's doing.
No, but they're not going to change, are they? No.
Of course not. And those who do are miserable and will eventually leave like I did when I did that.
Because it's the same thing with us chicks.
That's what I tell the guys. You have to say, this is part of who I am. Take it or leave it.
Right. You were attracted to something about them in the first place.
You know what I had to say about jazz? I had to say, jazz is going to be on. I'm not hiding in another room to play jazz and sit by myself.
Exactly.
It will be on.
Exactly.
And there is nothing you can do about it.
And if you're just insecure that they're going out and you're thinking that they're doing this, that, and the other, then you don't want to be with them in the first place.
Right.
But it is true. Girls, just let them go, do what they're going to do, have faith in them, trust them, because inevitably they're just going to come back to you.
That's right.
You cannot change a man.
If you don't
whatsoever.
like jazz, or you don't like guys who have friends, or you don't like guys who like to booze, you don't like guys who watch sports, don't go out with guys like that.
Exactly. I think what they do is they think that they're going to hook them in, just like you said, hang out with them, the girl that you were with, and of course they do. I did the same thing. I thought I can drink them under the table. Oh, I couldn't. After 3 beers, I was gone. But they started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were getting lock-ins at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just could not keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a choice to make. Do I want to be with this guy, or do I want to just forget it? So I just said, no, I want to be with him, but I had to admit I could not do it.
But you stayed with him, and you didn't give him a hard time about being a boozer.
Absolutely not. We've been married 8 years, but then again, I knew going into this marriage, with him being English, that's what they do. We even went back to England and lived for a year, and I couldn't piss and moan about it. That's what they do.
Look, if he's English and he takes a shower on a regular basis and puts a toothbrush in his mouth, you're ahead of the game.
Right. how much I agree 100% with what you're saying. And girls, get a grip.
J. Dean, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Dan on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, what's up, brother?
Just the ratings, Dan. Thank you.
Hey, chicks want you to give up something. Met this girl, love me for my Harley, brother. Guess what? Get together for a while. Now she wants me to give up the Harley.
Oh, Jesus.
Told her, you know what? You're done. You're out.
It's
You're never giving up my
dangerous.
Harley.
Yeah, you
Never
told her to
giving
get
up
lost.
my
Yeah, what man would give up his Harley?
Hey, and check this out. Here's the kicker, dude. When she left, when I got rid of her, she kept the spare helmet because she's going to get the next Harley.
Oh, I bet that's true, too.
Do you love her or what? Give me old school, Tom.
Here you go, Dan. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Michelle on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, Tom.
Michelle.
How you doing?
Great.
Here's the thing. I do agree with you. However, I got to say, it's all about a give and take. And I have taken some things away from my husband, but then again, I've given him some things that he's never experienced before. So I think that he...
What have you taken away from him?
I've taken away, I give him a little bit of heat about his drinking every once in a while.
Well, he was always a drinker.
He was always a drinker.
So why do you give him heat about it? That's who he was when you met him.
Because I'm worried about his health.
But he's not worried about it.
Of course he's not. He's a man. A lot of men don't worry about their health.
All right, but the bottom line is when you met him, it was okay with you.
You're right. You're right. I'm fully admitting to that. But as we've gotten older, I've gotten a little more wary of early death and things that are more realistic, and you don't think you're going to live forever. And so, something like that, it might be a concern.
Uh-huh. Okay. What else?
Besides, the beer gut is not a good thing.
Well, again, obviously, you had no problem with it when you met him.
Well, it's because he didn't have one when I met him.
Ah, so he's getting fat.
He's getting a beer
So you
gut.
told him he's getting fat.
But it's all about the give and take. I've taken away some other things like maybe golf here and there when I need him at home or something like that.
You don't need him at home. Come on. Need him at home.
Can I just explain to you what he's gotten?
I got 10 seconds. Go.
I've fully introduced him to pornography, which has added wonders to our sex lives.
Well, it's a good thing if you're into it, certainly.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis. Oh,
This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. Just sitting here thinking, I've had a great career, but I do have certain regrets. I could have had more Slim Jims. And I've been giving that a lot of thought lately. I don't know why. It just comes into my head. Something I should have done. Damn. One of my regrets in life. Don't let that happen to you. That and I never had sex with a man. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Just going over some of the things I never did. We're talking about the issues. The things that you do that she had no problem with until she got in there with you, and then she started telling you have to stop doing them. You don't want to stop. Or maybe you did. Let's say hi here to Eric on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello, Eric.
Tom, what's going on?
It's doing a radio show here, pal.
Right on. Hey, I was going to tell you this. I was with a girlfriend for 6 years. I was a big old puss. After 5 years, I decided, you know what, I'm going to move in with her, see how things go. Well, then that's when everything changed. She turned into Jessica Simpson of Revenge. She was just all about not letting me see my family. She didn't want me to watch TV. I mean, I'd be on the computer, and when you were saying about knocking on the wall, that's what she would do. She'd yell at me in another room. Hey,
are you on the computer again? Are you playing on the computer?
Exactly.
I love that one, by the way. Are you playing on the computer? I've gotten that one. Are you playing on the computer?
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, man? And it got to the point where I would come home from work, and, I would get a ride she had my car. I was like a total puss. She would have my car, and she wouldn't want anyone else to take me home. If it was, is there a girl taking you home? Is there a girl taking you home? Oh, forget it. I'll come pick you up. It was just ridiculous. So I left the bitch. I said, forget it. I packed my stuff up, and I didn't even tell her nothing. I just got all my stuff together. I called my brother, hey, come pick all my stuff up. Yeah. I was out of there in one day. I was just gone. And she had all kind of bills, she put it in like an idiot. She put everything on her credit cards. So I said, all right, fine, you go ahead and do that. I left there with no bills, a clean slate. Now I work at a great place. I work at Hooters. I run around a bunch of hot women all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, man, my life is better now. I mean, I have had so many girlfriends since her now. I don't even play with girls. You know what I mean? And it's weird because I wasn't even listening to you when I was with her, and I was already emulating all your stuff even before I started listening to you. When I started listening to you, I was like, oh my God, this guy is the man. He is it. So I'm just going to tell you, Tom, I listen to you every day. You're it, and that's why I tell you thanks because you give me the willpower to keep going every single day.
Thank you, Eric.
All right.
Appreciate the call. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. This is Carrie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
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 Okay, my boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years, and when I met him, I knew that he smoked pot, and I never got on him. I was like, I chose not to do it, and I'm
going to tell you why you chose not to do it, because you wanted to have a relationship with him, and so you chose not to say anything, because he might say, get lost, you bitch, and so...
Oh, exactly.
And so you just laid low until you felt like your relationship was on solid ground.
Yeah, and, it's his choice. That's fine. He can do what he wants to do. But now... Hello.
Hello.
Okay, my boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years, and when I met him, I knew that he smoked pot, and I never got on him. I was like, I chose not to do it, and I'm
going to tell you why you chose not to do it, because you wanted to have a relationship with him, and so you chose not to say anything, because he might say, get lost, you bitch, and so...
Oh, exactly.
And so you just laid low until you felt like your relationship was on solid ground.
Yeah, and, it's his choice. That's fine. He can do what he wants to do. But now I'm going to be applying to the police academy, and that's something that I just can't have around me. And
then you know what you have to do.
Well, so is it too much for me to ask him not to do it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because he'll just do it behind your back.
Well,
by the way, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
In my past, I had a woman that I dated who I really liked a lot, who got herself a gig with a federal agency. Not the police, but a police-like federal agency.
Yeah.
And she came to me and told me that I couldn't have pot in my house anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know where she is now?
I don't know.
Not here. That's where she is.
Yeah.
All right?
You're right.
Remember, you met him as a pot smoker. He did not meet you as a cop.
That's true.
So,
all right.
You either live with his pot smoking.
I know.
Or you break up with him.
Yeah.
But trying to get him to stop, here's what I would do if I were smoking pot and you told me to stop. I'd smoke it anyway. I'd just do it when you're not around.
But that's what I told him. I said, I'd rather you tell me you did quit and do it behind my back with me knowing nothing.
But come on.
You've been
around a pot smoker. Your hair smells like pot. Your clothes smell like pot. There's roach clips and roaches themselves lying around. There's bongs around the house. There's, there's little film canisters. There's little Ziploc bags the size nobody uses except pot smokers.
Yeah.
Come on. You're going to know.
Yeah.
You're going to know.
Yeah.
You hooked up with a pot smoker.
Yeah.
Well, you can't be a cop and hook up with a pot smoker.
I know.
So you either have to decide to do something else for a living, or you have to break up with him.
Yeah.
Which is it going to be?
I don't know. We listen to your program, and he started his own company, and we listen to what you have to say and stuff, and he said that he wants me to be the housewife and him to make all the money. And that's fine with me, but right now he's just starting, and we're not seeing huge income coming in.
Right.
So,
well, you could be something other than a cop, though, especially if you're not planning on doing it as a career.
Well, that's true, but, right now...
By the way, I don't know if it's LAPD or whatever, but do the taxpayers a favor. If you're not planning on doing it for life, don't waste our money training to be a cop and then quitting in 3 years. Don't do it. Go work at Ralph's for $20 an hour. It's a union gig.
Yeah. I figured I'd do it for longer, but then he's got this whole mindset that he's gonna take care of me.
Here
and I don't
again,
need to
you
work.
picked this guy. And I bet there's 20 other things about him you don't approve of.
No, not really. Like, pretty much everything we get along and work out and compromise and, you know.
Yeah, but the point is that there are certain things that define a person.
Yeah.
And some of them might be addictions, or some of the things might be really distasteful or illegal.
Yeah.
But when you accept a person, you accept them for who they are.
Exactly.
And you don't want to do that. You, like most women, think you can nag him or harass him into stopping doing something that you signed off on when you started going out with him.
Yeah. Well, I tried not to, and then just recently when I started thinking about the whole police thing, that's when I started to get on him.
Right. Well, but again,
Yeah.
he was a pot smoker before you thought of going into the police department.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your deal. You can always break up with him if it's that important to become a cop.
Or I just not become a cop.
There you go. Or you can break up with him and become a cop.
Well,
Then you could write down his address and go arrest him later on after you become a cop.
I could.
You could do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll think about it.
All right. Well, you give that some thought.
Tom Leykis.
1-800-5800-TOM.
Tom Leykis.
1-800-5800-866.
I just wanted to call and tell you how much of a schmuck I think you are. You're the king of the schmuck. But I think it's great. I'm a schmuck, too.
I'm the most entertaining schmuck in radio.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.